All right, so I feel like I have one of those summertime songs, like the summertime songs in my head right now. Steven's already laughing, I can tell.
Yep.
Hey, it's a good time to start looking at your retirement portfolio. It's the summertime. I'm Jeff Miles, along with financial advisor Steven Sabo. This is Next Chapter Living, planning your retirement story. You can get the full story actually on their website at executivefinancialgroup.com. Again, that is executivefinancialgroup.com. You can reach out to Steven Sabo. The entire family is part of this process. Again, Steven, your father started this all in 1985, and here you are now continuing on that legacy. And I'm sure that you could kind of go back and ask Pops maybe about some of the summer times that he had when he was, a young lad back in the day. Do you guys go to New Jersey beaches and stuff like that from Pennsylvania?
You know what? No, I haven't really ever. We go down to, I know, and it's funny in this area in Pittsburgh, a lot of people go down to the Outer Banks in North Carolina.
Oh, yeah.
So why it started, I'm not sure. We've been going there ever since I was a little kid, and we've been doing that now for 30 some years. And so it's cool. We're going this summer. It's a tradition with our family. The whole family goes down. We rent a house and we stay there for the week and everybody gets together. It's a week's about long enough. That's, nobody starts to get at each other's throats yet. So, but we're doing that this summer. No, never New Jersey though.
That's awesome. I'll tell you, I've been to that area, and it's a beautiful area. There in the Outer Banks of North Carolina, and as you get kind of into that North Carolina, South Carolina, even as part of Georgia, down in the Savannah area, it's just great all through that area to kind of spend some time in the summer, regroup, kind of refresh, all that stuff before you get back and start the second half of your year, which kind of it brings us to what we're going to talk about right now, and that's a financial checkup. Halfway through the year, you kind of want to look at what you've got going on. Let's kind of see where things have been for the past 6 months, and maybe we start looking at the next 6 months. Is it time to kind of ride this same ship? Maybe we should start looking at some changes. We've talked on the podcast before a little bit about interest rates. We've talked about the stock market. It's an election year. This is a perfect time for people to really kind of look at that retirement portfolio and maybe look at that checkup to see if changes should be made, or maybe let's just stick with what we're doing. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, absolutely. We really think it's a good idea because, the summertime tends to come and people, they get busy. They're doing stuff. They're going to ball games. They're going on their family vacations. People are busy, but, it's important to stop and we look at it kind of like getting your car inspected, right?
We want to check over. I was literally just going to say, it's kind of like, before you do take off and go on a vacation, usually you want to make sure your car's in tip-top shape.
Yeah, absolutely. We want to knock the tires. We want to make sure you have oil and, all the fluids and everything like that. And we, it's a great time to do that. We really think that it's important. Things change throughout the year and we want to know about it. We want to know, can it affect moving throughout the rest of the year? Is any of those changes, are they going to affect the rest of the year? Did anybody get married? Are there grandkids? Are there things happening? Do you need to change beneficiaries? How are you doing income wise? Do you have too much? Are you getting too little? There's a lot of things that we want to check on. And, like you said, where are we at in the economy itself? What's happening in the stock market?
One of the things that I was curious about when it comes to this kind of summertime financial checkup, do you start looking at people's tax situation just to kind of see where they are as far as tax brackets based off of what, they may be taking from their retirement portfolios and things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a big part of what we do whenever we build a plan for somebody in retirement is taxes. Unfortunately, when you go to get your taxes done, it's after the first of the year and not a lot can be done to fix or change anything that happened that prior year. And so we want to take a look at that and plan ahead. And like you said, if you are going to come to us and say, hey, Steven, you know what, we're going to do this extra vacation and I want to pull $10,000 out of my IRA. Well, we're going to have to take a look at that and see how it's going to affect you moving forward. Is it going to push you into a new bracket? Is it going to make your Social Security taxable? There are a lot of different factors in that can affect. And so we want to make sure and plan up front so that we aren't caught, come April of the following year and say, oh boy, you know what? There's not a whole lot that we can do about it now. We'd like to plan ahead for those things.
So I want to ask this as far as like, and I don't know that this is necessarily something that a financial planner professional would say that is a need or whatever, more of a want kind of a thing. But do you find that more people would want to have this checkup before they go on vacation, or is it something that maybe they want to see when they come back from vacation?
That's a good question. There's, you know what, I'd say that's probably 50-50 with people. We try and tell people to do it prior to.
Okay.
But, you know, life gets in the way. Some people, it's one of those things they don't want to look at it until, I don't want to see what's in the bank account until after we get back and I can survey the damage done. But, we try and tell people that, hey, it's a good idea just to make sure that you have everything that you need. You don't want to be in the middle of something or, it's more difficult for us to get something accomplished because we're busy or you're busy or, somebody's off doing something. So we say, hey, it's a good thing to, before you are going on vacation, give us a call, check. Do you need extra income? Do you need some money? Do you need, what can we do? What, just in case you're gone and we can't get in touch with you, is there any little loose ends that we need to button up prior to?
So I'm curious about people who may be from, the Pittsburgh area. I mean, they're in Pennsylvania. I know that there's a lot of people that may split time between where they are now and maybe somewhere down south. Probably a good idea for them to come see you before they head south, right?
Absolutely.
Or vice versa.
Yes, absolutely. We have a good number of clients that split their time between Pennsylvania and Florida, specifically the South, but Florida a lot. And, so we definitely encourage that because, most of the time somebody is down there until tax time. Yeah. And so, again, we go back to the taxes. After the first of the year, there's not a whole lot that can be done. And so we want to make sure that we get stuff accomplished now, while you're here so that you can come in, we can have a meeting, and just kind of check up on that because it gets a little bit more difficult whenever everybody's doing their own thing and, holidays and they're with family or they're traveling around once they're down there. So, we like to get somebody in, take care of everything that we need to up front, make sure that they have what they need to make their trip successful.
One of the things that I think that is so great about you, Stephen, and everyone there at Executive Financial Group is that, you love that personal connection. You love that, FaceTime with people. I'm guessing that most people that are kind of home for the summer right now, if they live down in Florida, part of the year that, you want to get them in before they head back down. And that's what probably I would say 3-4 months away, maybe a couple more months than that. But good time to start looking and planning for that stuff now rather than waiting till the last minute when, I don't know, October, let's say, to try and, shove it in before, you get, down to Florida where you can get some of that FaceTime with you guys.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there's, hey, again, things happen. People are human and sometimes they don't get to it to the last minute, but it can be more difficult to get stuff accomplished. Most of the time we're dealing with a third party, right? A company or something like that, where we need to communicate with them to change things. And so it doesn't always happen at the snap of a finger. I know, in today's world, you have a cell phone, you can get anything done pretty much instantly. And people are used to that instant gratification, but this isn't, that's not always the case with this. And so it is good to get in here early, make sure that we get it done, make sure we aren't rushing. We don't want to make you late to your arrival or anything like that. We want you to be on time. We don't want you to be stressed. And so we say, hey, let's get it over and done with. Let's knock it out on one of these days and we'll accommodate you as best as we can, but let's get this done.
So just random question from what you see in your experience there in Pennsylvania, when is about the time when people start to head south?
Yeah, for everybody it's a little bit different, but I'd say probably right at, not too far past Halloween. So sometime in the beginning of November, it starts to get cold. Some people like to stick around for the holidays, so they might leave the 1st of December or right after Thanksgiving. Some people, it's not a ton, but some people will leave after Christmas and then they'll be there from, the first of the year through April, something like that. So
got it.
We have a lot of people that do, some people that leave earlier than others, but it just depends.
So we should speak then specifically to those who may leave, let's say October, maybe before Halloween.
Yep.
And I bring this up because we are in an election year. And my guess is that depending on which way the election goes, you may not want to be sitting there hanging out in Florida and it's, in November and you're, wanting to get some FaceTime with Steven. And it's like, well, you're in Florida now because you didn't discuss maybe which way you would go depending on how that election goes. I would say that for those people, they probably want to come in and would you kind of look at it from a perspective and say, okay, here's kind of two different scenarios based off of how that election may go.
Yeah. I mean, we want to take a look at it and make sure that we have all of our bases covered. We don't, again, back to the crystal ball thing, we have no idea. And so, we don't want to speculate too much and say, oh, well, we think this is going to happen and then it doesn't. But we want to plan for anything to happen. And if something doesn't, hey, that's great. Or if something does take place, then we've already got something covered here and we have a plan to deal with whatever is happening. And so, we don't want to project out too far and say, well, this is what's going to take place if this happens, but we want to make sure that they have a plan in place, that it's flexible, that they can shift it if need be. And we don't want them to have to worry and say, hey, look, no matter what happens, ultimately, no matter what happens, you're okay. If it goes one way or if it goes another, you're going to be just fine. We've thought about these things and we've planned for them. And no matter what, you're going to be all right. Hey, maybe your person didn't win and you're going to be a little bit upset, but if it's not going to change anything, or even if it does change something, you're still going to be all right. And, a lot of the times I think it's that unnecessary fear. People get, riled up from the media. They see things on TV. It can kind of get people excited. And a lot of the times we're just sitting here saying, hey, you know what, calm down, take a deep breath. Everything's going to be all right. We throw on the therapist hat at that point.
Steven, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. And again, I think that putting together plans and especially looking at that kind of half year, where am I right now when it comes to my retirement plan, whether you're still planning for future retirement, whether you are someone who is currently in retirement and it has to do with distributions and things like that for the second half of the year. Definitely a time to go in and see Steven and the team there at Executive Financial Group. Once again, if you like what you're hearing, make sure that you are subscribed to the podcast so that you'll get notifications of whenever the next episode is coming out. And that way you can get in touch with Steven Sabo and everybody there at Executive Financial Group. This is Next Chapter Living, planning your retirement story. I'm Jeff Miles, and Steven, once again, such a pleasure. Enjoy the summer.
Thank you, Jeff. Yeah, no, we really appreciate it. We're looking forward to a good summer here, and so thank you very much. We appreciate that.
By the way, I just want to throw this in. I think it looks like you've already been working on the tan a little bit.
You know what? I'm trying. I am normally somebody that doesn't do well in the sun. So I'm working on it this summer. It's going to be a hot one. I'm trying to get ahead of things, just like you should whenever you are dealing with your finances. Get ahead of it. Don't deal with that sunburn down the road.
That's a great way to put it, man.
Yes, sir.
Well, until next time, subscribe, like, all that good stuff. Next Chapter Living, planning your retirement story. Thanks for listening. The opinions expressed by Steven Sabo and guests on this podcast are their own and do not reflect the opinions of this podcast station. All statements and opinions expressed are based upon information considered reliable, although it should not be relied upon as such. Any statements or opinions are subject to change without notice. Investments involve risk and unless otherwise stated are not guaranteed. Past performance cannot be used as an indicator to determine future results. Any strategies mentioned may not be suitable for everyone. Information expressed does not take into account your specific situation or objectives and is not intended as recommendations appropriate for you. Before acting on any information mentioned, please consult with a qualified tax or investment advisor to determine if it is suitable for your specific situation. This program is designed to provide accurate and authoritative information with regard to subject covered. Investment advisory services offered through Virtue Capital Management, LLC, VCM, a registered investment advisor. VCM and Executive Financial Group are independent of each other. Pennsylvania Insurance License number 670429. Any guarantees mentioned are backed by the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company and may be subject to caps, restrictions, fees, and surrender charges as described in the annuity contract.